Hey dolls! So today I'm going to defend something that is often ridiculed by people. What spurned this, you ask? Well, thank you. So some of you know I have done some voiceover work, and I am very much interested in doing voiceover work for video games. Oftentimes what happens is that there are some examples that just aren't that good, whether it is due to poor direction, the lack of the actor's skill, being miscast, or maybe someone just didn't properly do the sound editing right.
I heard that thieves broke into the Arcane University, the Imperial Legion compound, and the temple all on the same night. Wait a minute, let me do that one again. I heard that thieves broke into the Arcane University, the Imperial Legion compound, and the temple all on the same night.
But there was one example that often popped up that I just was like, no. You know what? No. You were just wrong here, and I'm going to defend it. And that, my friends, is none other than the laughing scene in Final Fantasy X. Alright, so before we get to that, let's go over a brief history here. Final Fantasy X was one of the first major games to be released on the PlayStation 2 console, and is also the first Final Fantasy game to feature full voiceover.
I've done it. I have become a summoner.
Now, while there was voiceover work in PlayStation 1 games, like you have Metal Gear Solid, which had an extensive amount of voiceover work, and then you had some of the JRPGs where certain scenes would have voiceover work and there would be animated cutscenes where they would have to do actual dubbing. What was unique about the PlayStation 2 was now that the hardware was capable of handling full mouth animations for an entire game with in-game graphics. So now these actors who may have worked on PlayStation 1 games now had to do lip syncing to a PlayStation 2 game. And there were some problems with this because the mouths were animated for a Japanese audio, but we're dubbing it into English here. So you got some rather awkward performances simply because the actors were trying to match the mouth movements. So that brings us to our infamous scene here. Why is it so just cringe? Well, it's supposed to be. That's why. The actors are actually doing a very serviceable job here of providing what is meant to be a very awkward moment. So let's get some context here for this scene. So essentially Tidus has been going through quite a bit. He is a sole survivor of Zanarkand being destroyed by Sin. He then learns that he's actually 1,000 years in the future because Zanarkand was destroyed 1,000 years ago. He meets Yuna, who knew his father, despite the fact that his father was supposed to have died at sea ages ago. And now he's lauded as some sort of hero who defeated Sin previously. And then he later reunites with his own guardian, Auron, who took care of him after his parents' death, who reveals that Jecht, his father, his abusive alcoholic father, that was a hero to Spira, is now Sin. And it's a lot. It's a lot for a 17-year-old guy to go through. So Tidus winds up reuniting with Yuna and her group because he has nowhere else to go, and Yuna sees that he's feeling down, so she decides to help cheer him up by getting him to just try to force a smile and force a laugh out. This is an actual thing that can help kind of trick your brain into releasing some serotonin. That's what spurns on this rather strange laugh. It's meant to be a forced, awkward laughter that Tidus is doing. And it's even clear in the scene itself that it's meant to be odd, because Yuna's like, okay, maybe we should stop before she joins in. And after they're all done, they do wind up actually having a more genuine laugh because the whole thing is just so silly. And then when they reunite with a group who was not too far off overhearing them, they're like,
"We were just worried you guys might have gone crazy."
And yeah, it's a weird scene. I remember when I played this game 20 years ago with my best friend at the time. When we got to this scene, it was just like we were both like, what? Okay, this is happening. But you know, maybe it's just the English version that's really awkward. Let's hear what the Japanese version's like. So this is an example of good voiceover work. The actors are appropriately being awkward and weird as the scene requires, and they're actually adding more to it to make it feel more real. I mean, it still can be considered one of the cringiest moments in video games, but as a bad voiceover moment? No. We have judged this not guilty. Alright, this is just a very short video. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who don't know, I have started a new Twitch channel called nerd_doll. You can follow the link in the description below.
Well, that's one way to get down here. Oh, you're just all talk. You're not that. I don't know what I was scared of you for.
Alright, well, thank you so much for watching. You have been a doll.